My name is Dr. O, public health physician, medical educator, and host of Health Caring Differently, my social media outreach initiative where I provide resources and inspiring stories to diverse youth to encourage them to pursue careers in medicine, healthcare, and research. I'm really excited because now I'm going to be providing content to parents too. So welcome. If you're watching this, you're likely the parent of a future doctor or at least curious about the field of medicine. First of all, congratulations. Just being here, learning how to support your child on this path makes a world of difference. Here's a statistic. 1 in 5 medical students has a parent who's a doctor, which, it may be discouraging, but think of it this way. 4 out of 5 did not have a parent who's a doctor, and they still made it. I was one of those 4. My dad worked as a maintenance worker. My mom took many different odd jobs, from cleaning offices to being a secretary, PSW, you name it. But I was fortunate enough to have good grades, you need those, and then ended up in a medical mentorship program in undergrad. I got the guidance that I needed to succeed and enter this field, and I want to do the same for you and your family. We'll be covering academics, finances, how to support your child's mental health, and self-confidence, especially if you come from a historically underrepresented background. So that's like Black, Indigenous, Filipino, Latinx, so groups who are underrepresented in medicine. Know that you are not alone, and there's a lot of resources available to help you and your child through this pre-medical journey. Let's start with the big picture. The journey to medical school is more than just grades and exams. It's emotional, demanding, and for many students, it's about pushing through systems that were not built for people who look like us. At the high school level, it's about building strong study habits, exploring science through like camps or clubs, and being active in community and school activities. The goal isn't just academic excellence, although you do need that, but it's about building a curiosity, being committed, and a well-rounded person. So for instance, in my high school years, I was involved in the Nigerian Association with my parents. I was actively engaged with the Caribbean community. I danced, I wrote for the community newspaper. So I was really involved in high school activities. And then by the time I got to university, I was in a number of different clubs, different groups, public speaking, that kind of thing. So that's what helps you to be that kind of like well-rounded person, that you still need the grades, but you also need to be involved in other activities. Doing the activities builds character so that ideally a child comes out with good communication skills, collaborative skills, and ideally some leadership skills. These are characteristics or competencies that we seek in a good doctor. And so that positions your child to be a strong candidate for medical school. But I have to point out that academics are still of high importance throughout. Excellence is a habit, and the earlier you have it, the better. Particularly in university, GPA and MCAT become 2 very important factors in medical school applications. So let's break those down. GPA stands for grade point average. It's one of the top metrics medical schools use to assess applicants. It's basically a summary of their grades in university. And while most schools don't require a specific area of study or a specific major, they do expect strong performance in sciences like biology, chemistry, and physics. The MCAT, the Medical College Admission Test. This is a 6-hour exam that tests everything from chemistry, biology, physics, and even psychology. Now, not all schools require the MCAT. So University of Ottawa, Toronto Metropolitan University, and the schools in Quebec do not require it. However, if your child writes the MCAT, that opens up opportunities for admissions for more schools across Canada and the United States. Overall, the key is to help your child stay organized. Encourage them to make a study plan, use resources like Khan Academy, and take advantage of free medical pathway programs that exist across the country for folks who are from underrepresented groups. So again, that's like Black, Indigenous, Filipino, Latinx. There are many programs across the country that are designed for students like your child. A great example is University of Toronto's Community of Support, which is designed to provide basically a diversity medical pathway program for students who are from underrepresented groups. They don't have to be at University of Toronto, and they don't have to plan to go to University of Toronto, and there's actually a network that can link them to other schools closer to them. So I do recommend taking advantage of that. We have a saying for those of us who are doctors: it takes a village to support a future doctor, and Community of Support is an example of a village. And remember, setbacks happen. A tough exam does not define your child, and you need to remind them of that. What matters is how they bounce back from challenges. Okay, let's talk dollars and cents, because this path is expensive. I come from a working class background. So, like I said, my dad was a maintenance worker. My mom did, various odd jobs. So I get it. The cost of preparing for and applying to medical school can feel overwhelming. MCAT preparation. Remember, we talked about the medical college admission test. There are actually really great resources available from the creators of the MCAT, the Association of American Medical Colleges. So you'll hear people say AAMC. Their resources cost around $300 to $335 US. And the test itself, the MCAT, is about $345 US. Medical school application fees. Canada has 18 medical schools, and in each province, there's a different application system. For Ontario alone, you're looking at over $300 just to apply for medical school. So you have the Ontario Medical School Application Service, otherwise known as OMSAS. OMSAS has a $220 service fee with additional fees of about $125 to $130 per school. Okay, so some good news. OMSAS also has a fee waiver program students can apply to, which subsidizes application costs for up to 3 Ontario medical schools and the OMSAS service fee if financial need is verified. Now, if your child is looking south of the border, then check the description for resources on applying as a Canadian to American medical schools. And lastly, medical school tuition. So now, if your child has gotten into medical school, there are other fees to consider. On average, in Canada, it's $16,000 to $27,000 per year, depending on the province. And that does not include books, housing, or anything else. That's just straight tuition. Although the financial strain can feel heavy, I do have some good news to lighten up the load. There are supports available. The AAMC's Fee Assistance Program can subsidize the cost of preparing for the MCAT and for the MCAT test itself for those with a certain household income. Also, the Association of American Medical Colleges, AAMC, and the Association of Faculties of Medicine of Canada, the AFMC, together have a fee assistance program for Canadians who apply for the MCAT. The University of Toronto also has the MCAT Student Support Program, which is a subsidized MCAT preparation course for students who are living in lower income situations. The course runs from May to July of every year. Students have to apply in the winter semester by submitting a written essay and providing specific documentation to verify eligibility. There are also scholarships for all kinds of students, specifically for Black, Indigenous, and other equity-deserving students. When I was a student, scholarships were my jam. That's how I paid for a lot of these fees. Now, if your child is admitted to a Canadian medical school, student lines of credit from major Canadian banks can provide up to $400,000. For Canadian students admitted to schools outside of Canada, major Canadian banks can provide lines of credits for a lesser amount, but they also require a cosigner. And many students work part-time during the summer to reduce debt. I did. So sit down with your child and plan ahead. Look into scholarships and bursaries. And remember, financial stress is real, but with planning and support, it's manageable. Now let's talk about something just as important, mental health. This journey is not just tough academically, it's also emotionally draining. And if your child is from a racialized or marginalized background, or the first in their family to go to university, it's even that much tougher. As a public health physician, a professor, and a Black woman in medicine, I've seen how chronic stress and burnout affect my patients and students on their journey to a medical career. I want you to know your support as a parent matters more than any tutor, textbook, or test score. Create a space where your child can talk openly about fear, self-doubt, or anxiety, and not just for medical school prep, but in general. Encourage hobbies and passions outside of medicine. So stuff like sports, music, art, these keep your child grounded. It's very important to encourage seeking mental health support. If you can afford it, or you are connected to an organization where mental health therapy is available, encourage your child to use it. Encourage this early on, before there's even a problem, so they can learn healthy approaches to self-care. Like, I have a therapist, and I make sure my kids have access to a therapist too, someone I call the feelings doctor. It should be as casual as going to see their family doctor or pediatrician for a physical checkup. That way, they won't hesitate if they run into deeper emotional challenges later on. Even if you do all these things early on, they may still run into major emotional challenges in university. So don't be afraid to get help. If your child is struggling, counseling and academic support can make a huge difference. Most universities have those services for free for registered students. Encourage them to take advantage of those programs. In this last section, I need to say representation matters. Right now, Black, Indigenous, Filipino, and other racialized groups are still underrepresented in medicine, but change is happening. There are pathway programs like the Black Learner Admissions Pathway at Dalhousie University and the Indigenous Admissions Pathway at the University of British Columbia. These programs recognize the value of diverse perspectives in healthcare, and we have seen the numbers of medical students from underrepresented groups increase substantially across the country in the last 5 years. So please know there is quite a bit of support out there. Check out the description below for details. When our kids see doctors who look like them, we know that that has a positive ripple effect in our communities. It is my mission at Help Caring Differently to ensure that diverse students and parents are aware of the various free opportunities that provide mentorship, research jobs, scholarships, and other opportunities for students who are underrepresented in the field of medicine. On my website, helpcaringdifferently.com, you and your child can sign up for the monthly newsletter to learn more about resources, summer camps, mentorship, and scholarship opportunities, as well as events that may support your family throughout your journey. Representation matters, and it also improves patient care. So I am committed to greater diversity in medicine, research, and healthcare. So, to all the parents watching, thank you. Your child's journey to medical school is long, but you are already doing one of the most important things, showing up. Remember, your role is to support without pressure, guide without controlling, and to believe in them, even when they doubt themselves. Let them find their voice. Let them grow, stumble, and rise again. And let them know that no matter what, you believe in their future. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and head over to our website and check out our newsletter. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep supporting, keep believing, and keep building a better future for your kids. Remember, you got this.